Now then, I thought I'd just do you a bit of a review of our old 7210 Magnum. I mean, built in America, Wisconsin, like the John Deeres, the big John Deeres. And I always think that the American tractors are very, very strongly, but well put together, very well built. And in this era, I mean, the John Deere equivalent to this would be the 8 Series, which was built in the same state, Wisconsin. But this is the baby of the bunch. This is, I think, rated about 160-70 horsepower, something like that. So she's a big lump for that. But they use the same engine, the 8.3 Cummins. They use the same engine right through the range, right up to 270 horsepower. And basically it's the same tractor. The only thing different, I think, is the wheels. They put 710s on the back. 710s instead of these 520s. And apparently on the pump, we've never doctored it. Someone has, because it's a lot powerfuler than 160 horsepower. It's got torque forevermore. It can just pull. It can just pull for England. But there's a thumb screw apparently. You flick a cap off and the thumb screw, and quarter of a turn is 25 horsepower. And I reckon someone's took her over 200. I reckon it's about 225 horsepower how it pulls. But very solidly built, very heavy. I think it weighs about 10 ton. Very heavy thing. Good for draft work, for ploughing and subsoiling and stuff like that. It's got nowhere near the power that this bloody thing has. This, I mean, that's a Case Magnum in New Holland bloody drag. I mean, it's built in the same factory. That's just the newish Magnum, or the newer Magnum. But no, she's been a good old lass. I mean, before this, we had a 8040 John Deere, an articulated John Deere. And bloody hell, it was huge and it looked the business, but it had less power than I've got hair on my head. Yeah, honestly, it was just totally gutless. We bought it and did it up a bit, and we used it a few seasons, so we got shut of that. It was just horrible. There's a video on YouTube actually. If you look back, it's not under Dove Farms though. It's under Richard Dove, John Deere 8040. Yeah, with an homemade like cultivator we did. But no, she's the business. Is this? I mean, we superseded it with that, and I mean, but I just don't know whether I want to sell it. It's worth a lot more than I paid for it. I paid 15 grand for it about 10 years ago. And I think she's worth more than that now. In fact, I didn't pay 15 grand for it. I paid about 14 and a half for it. It's done about 7,000 hours. And it's still a good tractor. Yeah, she's a bit drippy. She's a bit bleedy in places. There's an oil seal at the back of this hub. Could do with doctoring back there, but it doesn't leak that much. Split PTO. The smaller ones had a 540 at the bottom and 1,000 at the top, but the bigger ones, the bigger of the range, just had 1,000 output spline. I mean, it's a very comfy environment to sit in. Big seat, big air seat. Gearbox, 18-speed power shift, just straight through. There is a few ranges where you're pulling hard. You have to learn which gears you need to be in, because you don't want to be going over that when you're pulling hard. You don't want to be going over that, over or under that range. But if you're ploughing and you're turning around at headland without just doing a loop, you have to come back on yourself. Go like that, and then when you want to go forward, you want to go like that, and it's a bit of a chew. She's more a disking trail machinery machine where you just whip round the end without shunting. But yeah, quiet as a mouse in here. Air conditioning is as fit to freeze you. It really is, and starting any weather. I mean, them American tractors made for American market, they're built to start. But yeah, good old bus really. I think she's done about Where's hours on it? Engine hours. Oh no, it's done 8,500 hours, more than I thought. I mean, in a direct, she hasn't done much this year. I used to do alt baling with it. All it basically does now, oh God, on dryer. It goes up dryer. Odd times we put a trailer on it to pack it on an headland or out like that, but it doesn't do much at all now. But baling, it was a beautiful baling tractor. Just a little bit low. We had to put a skirt underneath to let everything slide through it, lest it used to bulldoze on a big swath of hay or straw. It used to bulldoze underneath it. But apart from that, beautiful to bale with. Yeah, so I don't know. I might sell her one day. I'm getting my collection of vintage tractors. Look. Oh God. In fact, what I can hear you all saying, they're all about vintage. I mean, that's an 09, that's a 60 plate. She's a 97. It's a 61 plate. It's Phil's. Oh God, it's bright. 61 plate is the Fergie, and then we've got these two what have been on farm since I've told you about them before. 2140. It's done 14,000 hours, and I think that's done 13 and a half. 2650. But I don't know what to do really. 6.5 John Deere, like we still use. It goes up mixer and chopper. Still a very good tractor. I'd like to try the Magnum on this, to be honest. I don't know whether to lift it or not because it weighs 4 ton. We've got rid of our comb for 6 metre, and we've bought this. It was a gift actually. We bought this Cavern Lund. Couple of little weeps underneath, and there's a little bit of a weep on that gearbox. Someone has been into it, but I can't see why. If we're careful with it, it'll do us a year or two. Phil's had it on and had it run up, and it's good. There's oil where it should be, but there is a few leaks on that side thing. I think in time, if we get it through drilling time this spring, and then see what we think about it, and then maybe even sort of revamp that side next back end after next back end drilling season. But yeah, Christ, it was cheap that. I'm telling you how cheap it was because I might want to flog it, and if I tell them everybody how much I paid for it, they'll want to beg it. I can't understand why it was so cheap. Whether I can't see out, but as I say, we've had it on a tractor, and it all runs up perfect. And I think they're fair good errors because Frank run one. They blowed it up this time, but they said it was their fault because they didn't have no oil in it. But he says their 4 metre has been a brilliant machine, so we'll see. New mower coming, I think. We're going to look for a new mower. Well, not a new one, but a couple of year old one. Lely drill off to York Sale, I think. I mean, that's ours we use. Sold that the other day, the other one. That's off to York, I think. Bloody good drill. I don't know why we haven't flogged it really, but I think we're cashing it into York just to make a bit of shed space. Vardestad's staying because it is a bloody good drill. It really is. New tedder. We're thinking about a new tedder, a 6-rotor rake. We want to go down the Lely route actually. The Lely, what do they call it? The Lely tedder. Oh God, my memory. Anyway, whatever it is, a Lely 6-rotor tedder we're looking for. Oh, I'll tell you what we are looking for. A bloody cattle box. Not a cattle box like that. A cattle box but back of a tractor. A box. You know, we probably have the trailer to sit it on. But I just want a box about 24 foot long. I ain't bother what condition. You know, it can be as rough as arseholes. Like, we'll mend it. Or put a floor in it or what. But, you know, I'd like a scrap box. In fact, I'd like a scrap box because then it gives our Ollie something to do. Because he's bloody good at stuff like that. Give us our Ollie stuff to do. But sort of cut it up, mend her up, strengthen her up, and revamp one. That's what I prefer rather than I'd rather spend bloody hundreds rather than thousands. So he's got a good project, like. Put a bit of money into it. But so anybody got a scrap box, give us a shout. You know, about 20, no less than 20 foot long. Bloody foggy now. Still cold. Frost hasn't lifted out at sun. In fact, I'll give we're just walking around now, and we're off into town for a few drinks and a meal. I don't think there's a cow sort of near. My dad's going to have a look later on, but anyway, so yeah, the review on the Case Magnum. Just makes you smile driving it, I'll tell you. Really does. Off to see one of them on Monday, I think. A 650 some. Well, Rep's found us it. A good friend of ours, a rep at local class dealer, he's searched round his branches and says, rung us up, he says, Rich, we've got the 650 on at a depot, go and have a look at it, might just suit you. So hopefully I'll be telling you about that next week. So but anyway, if you like this channel, Rough Hard Farm in East Yorkshire, who runs runs hard stuff, like and subscribe, and we do, I don't know, 1 or 2 a week, and yeah, not too fancy, have a bit of a giggle. So yeah, bye for now.